Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Okay.
Good evening.
Very good evening. Let me share my screen. So yesterday we were discussing how to write unit testing, right? Hmm?
Yes,
Did
sir.
you
We
get a
have seen the
chance to
basic unit test cases and all.
did you get a chance to practice?
Yes. I mean, we have seen the codes and all, whatever you have done.
Okay. So what we yesterday discussed is in Angular to write unit testing, there is a framework available called Jasmine. To run the unit testing, we have a test runner called Karma. Karma is test runner, Jasmine is test framework. To run the unit testing, we run a command ng test hyphen code cover is equal to true.
Yes.
In Jasmine, we have terminologies like describe, eat, expect. Then we have a lot of methods. We have methods like to be, not to be defined, not to be defined, to equal, to be truthy, to be falsy, to be greater than, to be less than, to contain. All these are Jasmine methods we have, right? We have,
Yes.
Yes.
we have these all methods. Then we have something called Jasmine global functions. What is Jasmine global functions? We have four global functions in Jasmine. Before all, before each, after each, after all. So here, if you see, this code is written. Where this code is written?
Before each.
In before each it is written. Why it is written in before each? See, there are four global functions. Before all, before each, after all. In a component, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say this is it 1, it is it 1, this is it 2, this is it 3. How many it we have?
3.
Can you tell me in what order they will be called?
Synchronous way, I think 1, 2, 3.
No. If we have before each also, before all also, after each also, after also, and there are 3 it, in what order they will be called?
Okay, okay. So then before all should be
First,
called.
first of all, before all will be called. After before all,
Each.
after before all, before each will be called. After before all will be called one time. Before each, it one, after each. Then before each, it two, after each. Then before each, it three, after each. Then after all. This is the sequence in which they will be called. Do you understand? Hmm?
In question, above, could you please go above?
Hmm.
We have written this all in before each.
Hmm. So
One.
when we write some logic in before each function,
Okay.
this will be executed before every it is executed. Before this is executed, this will be called. Again, it will be called before second it is called. Again, it will be called before third it is called.
Means whatever we have written the here it function, we can say functions. Before that, before each function will get call.
Yes.
You okay, got it.
So if you want to, let's say, if you don't write before each, you have to repeat the code like this. You have to repeat the code like this. You have
Okay,
to repeat the code like this, right?
okay, got it.
So
Thank you.
instead of repeating the code like this, you move your common code that you want to execute before every it. Before every it, I want to execute this much of code. So it will always execute this much of code. Always it will execute this much of code. Then it will start executing your it. After that, again it will execute this code, will go to it 2. After that, again it will execute this code and will go to it 3. Got it now?
Yes, got it. And before all, it will call first time. Only first
Before
time.
all will be called only one time.
Yes.
Only one time. After all will be called only one time.
One time. Yes.
Here you can have all the initialization.
Yes.
Here you can have all the cleanup code,
Clean up code. Yes.
and here you can write all the repetitive code, that you want to
Yes.
execute again and again and again.
Yes.
Then next,
We can have after each as well, right?
we have after each also.
Yes, no issue.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, welcome. Then f describe. So when we say only describe, it will run all the describes available throughout the project. If you write f describe, f stands for focused. So it will not run test case for other files. It will run test case only for this file. F describe means focused describe. If it exists, Jasmine will run only this one and it will ignore other type of describes. Let's say you have unit testing written for 100 components and the failing is happening in only one component. So you will work on only one component. You will not work for all 100 components. So that time you just add here f describe. When we add f describe here, we are saying, Jasmine, don't run unit testing for all the files. Run unit testing only for my file. So that amount of time it takes to run the unit testing will be less. F describe means focused describe. Like f describe, we have x describe. X describe means we are saying don't execute don't execute my describe, execute other files. Understood? What is f describe and what is x describe?
If describe, I mean focus describe, like Jasmine will run this unit testing for this file only. If you are facing
And
error,
will skip other files.
skip other files. Similarly, X
Ha.
will skip this one, execute others.
Ha. Yes.
When we use X describe, like we understand that once we are getting error for one test file, we can give F describe and run it. Similarly, when we
Ha.
can give X describe,
Very good question. Let's say all of a sudden your unit testing is failing in one of the test case. Here one of your unit testing is failing. To fix that unit testing, it is taking longer time. So because of that, your build is failing in the environment. So other people are waiting for you to fix. So what you have to do, you just have to add X describe. So when you add X describe, the unit testing for this file will not run. So the failing test case also will not impact your Jenkins build. You commit this. When you commit this, even if in this file you have some problem, it will not impact your Jenkins build. The Jenkins build will be green. All your teammates, they will be able to continue with their work. Once you fix the issues available here, remove X describe and commit it again.
or like if it is not 100%, it will not go to Jenkins in that way.
No, it will not go to
Oh, okay,
Jenkins.
okay.
It will fail in Jenkins also.
Okay, okay, okay. So that is integrated with the test cases and all those things.
In Jenkins, test cases will be integrated. If your unit testing is failing, application build will not happen. So other
Okay,
people will
okay.
start shouting at you, "Hey, what did you commit? Because of that, the
Ah,
build is failing. What did you do? It is failing. What did you do? It is failing." People will start pinging you.
yes, yes. So to bypass temporarily, we can do extra step and make
Yeah.
it synchronize. Yeah.
Uh, like that, we have F8, F8 focused it. Only one test case will run. X8, only one it will be ignored. Hmm? Are we clear with these four methods? F describe, normal describe, X describe, normal it, F it, X it. Understood?
Yes, sir. Like X it or F it, we can also remove comment out also, right? And like yesterday you are
Uh,
doing.
yeah, it is kind of commenting out only. So instead of commenting out, just add X, right? It will
Mm-hmm.
ignore that. Huh?
Yes.
Huh. So when you comment, there will be lot of changes in GitHub, right? It will say, okay, these all
Yes.
lines are changed, 100 lines are changed, 50 lines are changed, right? Just add a X, just add F, that's all.
Yes, very good thing. I mean, I came to know.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Hmm. Okay, guys, if you know this much about unit testing, I believe this much is enough to have minimum knowledge on unit testing. The more on unit testing you will learn only when you start writing the unit testing. Without writing unit test cases, we cannot cover all the use cases in a training. In a training, you trust me, this much only will be covered. And I believe we discussed pretty much. This much is enough for a beginner.
Yes, sir. Like one API level, if you even from the high level, just give 5-10 minutes from internet also do
Yeah.
that API. That will be also helpful.
Oh, yesterday my
Yeah.
internet didn't work. Huh, I
Yes.
remember
Yes.
now. Yeah, we didn't do that yesterday. Sorry. Yeah, I think we should do that. Huh? We had searched yesterday, but my API didn't work. My internet didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fine.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. So what we should do actually, what we should do, let's say we have one API call. If we have one API call, then huh, we should use a spy there. In Jasmine, there is something called spy on. We can use spy on method of Jasmine to mock the REST service call. So what are we doing? What are we doing? We are saying, suppose REST service is a service, the way we have employee service, user service. The same way in the project there is a service. The service name is REST service. In REST service, there is a method called call. So when my actual code is hitting rest service dot call, or whenever my actual code is going and hitting employee service dot get all employee. So here I'll write spy on employee service get all employee. It means indirectly it is saying in the actual code, if somebody is trying to hit employee service get all employees method, then it is a spy. It is a spy means don't call the actual method and return the value. Return the value. This of is RxJS operator. This data is sample data. So if somebody will call this service and this method, please don't call that service and that method. Return return this data as observable. Got it na?
Yes, so data is having nothing, empty data.
Yeah, empty data. We will have some sample data here.
Okay, so we'll have a
Key value
copy
we
of
will have.
that in the
Uh,
beginning. What all objects it should have, that
Correct,
kind of.
correct. Then we will call the component method and we will expect that component dot my data dot length should be this much. It should not be empty. It should have something like that. Let's see another example. Suppose login component is using a service auth service. Auth service is having a method is authenticated. What method it has?
Is authenticated.
From which service?
Auth service.
Auth service is used by which component?
Login component.
Suppose we want to validate this. How we will do that? This is the huh. So we are creating auth service. We are creating login component by passing the service,
One,
right?
two, or what all things are there before each bracket one, bracket two, what is that? First bracket.
First, oh, okay. So one, this two, right?
Hmm.
It is just a hint. Do this first, then do
Oh.
this maybe.
Oh,
Huh.
they're explaining below. That's why they are
Yeah,
using.
they are explaining step by step. So what they are doing, please understand. First creating a service object, then creating a component object, then after in after each every after each removing the token from local storage. When they are removing the token from local storage, service is making null, component is null. When before this it what will be called? Before
Uh,
this it what will be called?
be-
Before
Before
each will
each.
be called, right?
before it.
Before each. So before it is called, before is will be called, before is will create instance for component and service.
Yes.
Then it will say expect component dot needs login. If I call needs login method from component, it should be true because after every each it is removing the token from local storage, right? If
Yes.
I call, it should return always true. And if I call local storage dot set item, then again I'll say needs login, it should give me false, right?
I mean, if I set some other token, that's why it should be false.
Yeah. So this has a lot of advanced unit testing examples. Yeah, Angular service unit testing with HTTP client. So there is a service called data access service. Data access service has a method get travelers, delete traveler and all, which is internally using client.get, client.delete and all. If we have to write unit testing for that, what are we doing? Please understand. So first of all, in before is what are we doing? We are importing HTTP client testing module. Then HTTP testing controller equal to HTTP testing controller equal to calling this. Then we have some sample response. This is traveler object. This is how traveler object looks like. Then we are injecting the service. Where is the actual testing code is there? Huh. Then data access service dot get travelers. If I call and subscribe, I will get some data t. That t I am assigning to result. Result is my local variable.
This is
Then
not spy on, right? This is the
no,
actual
this is
response.
not spy. This is not spy. This is something else. This is different. We are not spying here. Hmm. Here, spy is created. Let's say hmm, mock. There is one mock service, and the mock object they have info success error. Jasmine dot create spy. We are creating a spy method. Creating a spy method. Creating a spy method, and doing something. Not again opening a blog and understanding will take some time.
Yeah, that's fine. But we
Yeah,
understand the
that is fine.
ABCD.
Lord.
I mean, we can explore now. I mean, we understand the basics. Yes, we can
Mhm.
do that. But we understand that API, we need to mock it. We need to sometimes maybe calling the
Huh.
actual API also, checking that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Please spend some time.
yeah, sure.
You will be able to do it. Fine. Now we will understand what all Angular flavors we have. Tell me, what is your knowledge?
That is two thing. One is before two and after two. There was Angular JS. Written was Angular. That was a controller based approach. TypeScript and controller was there, and Angular two completely changed that new way. Then every major versions came 4, 5, 7, 9, 13. A new additions on top of it.
Correct. So we have two Angular flavors. One is Angular JS, or we can call Angular 1.x, and the other flavor is starting from Angular 2. Starting from Angular 2, we call it as Angular. We have Angular 2. Angular 3 is not there because it was already deployed, but they found some issue. Google team, they found issue, so they collapsed that version. We don't have Angular 3. Angular 3 is not there for users like us. Angular 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now we are using 15, and every 6 months they release one version. This list will keep increasing. Angular JS is different. Angular is different. Whatever we are learning
Yes.
is Angular. If we try to understand how Angular JS and Angular are different, yes, in Angular JS, we used to write JavaScript code. In Angular, it is TypeScript. And we know how TypeScript is better than JavaScript. So definitely in that case, Angular is also better than Angular JS. Angular JS supports MVC architecture. We used to create model, view, controller. We used to create in Angular JS. Not now, 10 years back. 10 years back, we used to use Angular JS heavily, which used to support MVC architecture. But Angular doesn't support MVC. Angular is component based architecture. Okay. Any question with second point?
No.
No. In Angular JS, there was no CLI. So we used to create component manually. We used to create a directive manually. We used to create pipe manually. We used to create everything manually. But in Angular 2 and above, we have CLI. CLI means command line interface. It helps us to create a project, create a component, create a service, create a pipe. In Angular JS, its name was filter. In Angular, we changed it to pipe. We means Google people, they changed it to pipe. In Angular JS, we had controller concept. Here we don't have controller concept. You know, if I open one of the code, Angular JS code, Angular JS, I have heavily used Angular JS. So in Angular JS, we used to write controllers and all. This is how controllers look like. First of all, we will create a. The good thing is, the funny thing is, you write 10 lines of code and your application is ready. Angular application is ready. You write only 2 lines of code and your Angular project is ready. But to be honest, is it
Is it
useful?
useful?
Is it one
Is it one
enterprise
enterprise
application?
application?
No.
No.
No
No
enterprise
enterprise
application will
application
have
will
two
have
lines
two
of
lines of
code,
code,
right?
right?
Hence, it didn't work.
Yes.
So, if you want to create a module in Angular JS, only write this line. This line is enough to create a module. Var app equal to angular dot module my app array. Done. You are done with a module. In the module, you want to add a controller, app dot controller, controller name, which is a function. Controller can take two things. $scope. $scope means this data will be available to only my controller. There is another thing called $root scope. $root scope, if you store some variable in $root scope, that will be available to other controller also. So
Yes.
this is how the old syntax used to look like. Huh. But later they felt Angular JS is not going to work for enterprise applications. Hence they came up with Angular 2 and above. Even today there are a lot of projects. They are still using Angular JS, but we can do nothing with that. They have to migrate today or tomorrow. Yeah. The current trend is Angular, not Angular JS. There are few people they say Angular is changing very frequently. They come up with one new version. Don't use Angular, go with React. No. So if you notice, after Angular JS, there is no architectural change at all. Starting from Angular 2 to Angular 15, there is no architectural change. Only some syntactical changes they add. They keep improving the performance. They keep adding new features, but there is no architectural change, major
Yes. 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 Yes.
architectural changes. You will not see. So nothing to worry. Even though they add two new versions every year, it is only for us, for our benefit. They keep improving the framework. They keep adding new things to the framework. Okay.
So,
So
sir,
this is
nowadays,
ang.
like React
Haha.
and Vue are also in the market, all are in the competition zone. Like Angular
Ha.
won't think like I should be also staying at the high peak of the market, because if you consider 30% is Angular percentage and 60% React, and again Vue is also coming up. So, how they are
From
going
where
to?
you got that figure, 30 and 60?
Some blog I was reading, even market.
No,
Yeah,
no. Even see earlier, what used to happen? Angular used to cover 70%
correct.
and React used to cover 30%. That figure has come down. Maybe today, Angular is 50, React is 30, Vue.js is 10, and other things 10. When I say other things, 50% of the project you will find in AngularJS,
Okay.
30% of the projects, that too only small and medium scaled applications, small and medium scaled application, small and medium scaled industries, they are using React. The very heavy applications and bigger organizations, they still go with Angular.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
again, if we start a discussion, the debate will continue and it
Hmm.
is a never ending discussion. But I believe this is the fact. I don't know. And 10% is Vue.js and 10% will be Polymer.js, Knockout, Knockout.js, OJet. There are a lot of other libraries.
Like Vue and other things don't have that much of community support like Angular and React is having.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Angular is also updating itself. Like Angular is
Yeah,
constantly
they are adding
doing
lot
some.
of things.
Yeah.
I think this is for mobile development, right? Gaurav?
Hmm.
Sir,
This.
developing one VS Code extension, so I used it. Like,
Ah, okay.
but we can develop applications, also web applications, real-time applications.
Ah,
Not
okay. Yeah. So this one is also gaining popularity.
Oh yes, well. What's that? That's another I did not heard about it earlier.
What? How do you pronounce it, Gaurav?
Svelte.
Svelte.
Svelte. Okay. Yeah.
It has really nice syntax.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, for mobile application development, people use Ionic, people use React Native, people use Flutter, right?
Yeah. Progressive
Mm.
web app, Flutter, yes.
For web, first Angular, second React.
Then good. Like at least 5 years, Angular will have its market, as per my
It will be
understanding
there.
now.
Yeah, it will be there forever, I think.
Then good.
Do you think at
Next,
some time the number of release in a year will reduce?
once it comes to a stable state, definitely the number of release will be reduced.
Last year it was four released: Angular 12, 13, 14, and 15.
Mm, yeah, because of that only people are thinking ki Angular is not stable, but that is not actually the case. They are really trying hard to give the best framework. In every release, they are trying to reduce the bundle size. They are trying to add new features. So a lot of things they are doing. It's not like they are also not trying. Uh, I mean, if they release a version, they know If a project is running in 13, they have to migrate it to 14. What all difficulties they have to face? Even they know that. So even they are trying to make minimum architectural change, but not sure. I think after a year or two, we should have a stable version and the number of release should be reduced. That's what I believe. Yeah, if we try to understand in each version what extra thing we got, if you try to compare Angular 2 and Angular 4, in Angular 2 we got TypeScript support, component based architecture, CLI, pipe, no controller, no dollar scope, better unit testing. We got all these things in Angular 2. Okay, then in Angular 4, what extra thing we got? The first thing is they did a lot of improvements to reduce the bundle size. To reduce the bundle size, lot of improvements were done. Second thing, Angular 2 was supporting only TypeScript 1.8. Angular 4 started supporting Angular TypeScript 2.1 and TypeScript 2.2. Third thing, in Angular 2, two libraries were combined: Angular Core and Angular Animation. These two these two libraries were there in one library. There was only one library. Even if you don't use animation package, we used to import in Angular 2 because we have to write import at the rate input from Angular core. When we import Angular core, whole core package is getting imported. Whatever things are there, everything comes to our project. But in Angular 4, they separated and created two libraries. One is Angular core, one is Angular animation. Those who are not using Angular animation, they don't have to import. So in our training, we never used at the rate Angular slash animation. So we didn't import even this package, right? But in Angular 2, it used to be imported in every file. I mean, in every project, sorry,
So
in
bundle
every
will be also
project.
increased. Like earlier, bundle would have been
Bundle
high.
size will be increased for
Yes.
sure. Before Angular 4, we didn't have an option to write if and else. We used to write if two times. If true, what happens? If false, what happens? In Angular 4, they supported if with else. Email validator was not there in Angular 2. Validators.email. Validators.email was not there in Angular 2. It was a miss. In Angular 4, it got added. In Angular 5, what all things we got? Definitely build optimizer. This is implicit. They keep improving that. Before Angular 5, we used to use at the rate input and at the rate output. In Angular 5, we got inputs array and outputs array.
Sanjay, do we have any pending session? We'll go through the theory notion. Do we have any session pending topics?
Yeah, we have two more sessions. We have one session on Angular material and another session on NGRX.
We have not discussed the enums.
Sorry,
Debugging also remains.
debugging. I'll explain. So, is it okay? Will you go through this theory and understand in what
Better
version
is
Yes,
what all
sequence
yes.
things
too,
are
sir.
added?
Better
Yeah,
you.
yeah, we will go through
Yes,
that.
sir.
We can go through all, sir. But if you go through something new comes up, now it's up to you, sir.
Yeah.
So Sanjay, a quick question here.
Hmm.
You shown us both at the rate input and input array, and input array is the newer syntax, right?
Hmm.
So we
Correct.
use the newer syntax always, even if the older syntax supports.
Yeah, we should always try to use the newer syntax. So they thought something and they gave us a new syntax. Try
Yes.
to use this. At the same time, if you see somewhere this, you should not be confused that what is this. So it is always
Exactly.
good to know both the syntaxes, but start using the newer syntax.
Yes, sir. Like this
So
kind
if
of
you
things we'll miss out, sir. Like if we don't go through it, like this kind of minor things we'll miss out.
aha, so that is why while explaining also I told one at the rate input, one inputs array. Both the things I told.
Yes, yes. We'll go through the theory part in
Yeah,
session.
yeah, yeah. Please go through it. And these are theories, nothing special. Okay, today let me explain uh, how to debug the code if something is not working, how we will get to know where is the issue. We have one Angular project. I think this is the one. Okay, somebody is asking what is enum. Yeah, enum is just a array type value in TypeScript. In TypeScript, enum is a data type. It's a TypeScript concept. It's a data structure. So when you write like this is enum. It will have key equal to value. Down, left, right. This is enum. This is enum. This is enum. Got it?
Yes,
Uh-huh. This is a data structure, you can say.
When we say is an object,
A similar like object, similar like array, not 100% object. Let me quickly show you also. Object in object, we will have uh, let user is equal to object key and value, key and value, right? But here it's not like that. Here we directly write enum. This is the enum name. The values are north, east, south, west. Now if you say cardinal directions dot north, yeah, this is the best example. Enum status codes. This is the key. This is the value. In object we use colon, but in enum we will use equal to. Success equal to 200, like this. When we say status code dot not found, you will get the value 404. So
got
it
it.
can be related with object, it can be related with array. When you want to store multiple values in one variable with equal to separator, ideally we go with enum.
if we don't have that value, it will be zero, right?
It will
Zero
be
one.
zero. When we
Yes.
don't have any value, it will be zero.
I think we cannot increment also, right? This, that is the
No,
reason we use enum.
no, we cannot. It is read only. We
Yes,
cannot
yes,
increment.
yes, read only.
Yeah, that is the main thing we have to remember. Otherwise, we would have gone with object, right?
Yes,
If we have to update the name, first name, last name, the address, we will go with object. No need to go with enum. If you want to store constant variables, constant values in a key value kind of where we go with enum. It's a TypeScript feature, not a JavaScript feature. Yeah. It's easy. You just go through it. You will get to know. Okay. Let me do one thing. Let me show you. If we have to debug some code, how we will do that. Okay. Yeah, my project is up and running. Now what I will do, what I'll do, I'll go to my home component. In home component, what I'm trying to do, I want to add two numbers. If I want to add two numbers, then first of all, I will have enter number one, enter number one. For that, I'll add one input box. Then I will have how we write template reference variable has num1. Then then we will add another input box, add number two, and we will say mm, paragraph addition of dollar num1 dot value and dollar num2 dot value is, suppose I will call a function. Oh, okay. I'll have a button. I'll have a button here. I'll have a button, and on click we will call add method. On click we will call a method called add, and once it adds we will have a paragraph addition result is add result. Now this is home components HTML. To add function we have to pass num1 dot value and num2 dot value. Now if we go to home dot component dot ts, we should have one we should have one function here. We should have add function. It will take a and b, and there will be a variable. The variable name is add result, which is a number whose value is 0. And what it will do, huh, it will go and use a service. The service name is math service. So here we will add a service called math service private math service colon math service. Hmm. Now, what we will do, here we will say this dot math service dot add a comma b, and whatever it will return, I will store it to this dot add result, this dot add result. Then whenever this add result it changes, here we will be able to see the add result. Now if we go and see, we have number 1 10, number 2 20. When we click on add, the value is 200, right? So why the value is 200, why not 30? If we want to understand, first of all, when we click on this button, first of all understand how will you understand in which component you will debug. The simple thing is inspect it. When you inspect it, at least you will find something. You will find that the button with text add, where it is there, or look for this text addition result. Copy this addition result, and go to your project. In project you search where is this text available. You got to know this is available in home component.html. Now you are pretty sure that the UI is coming from home component.html. When you got to know this, you will be able to understand what are we doing here in this piece of code. Okay, on click we are calling a function whose name is add. Definitely this add function will be there in my component. So go to source, and do a control P, and search home.component.ts. In home.component.ts, go here and click on line number 31. When you click on line number 31, a debug point is added at line number 31. Do you see? Then, try to trigger again. So when you trigger again, when I click on add, I can see what is a value and what is b value. A value is 10, b value is 20. Then what I'm doing? So this is component. This component is calling a method add from service math service. So there are icons here. If you click this, it will resume your script execution. If you click here, it will go to next line. It will move line by line by line. If you click here, it will go inside the function. Now we are in add function. If we want to get into math service add function, we will click this icon. So here I want to get into add function from math service. So the third icon is the appropriate icon here. Click here. So it will take you to math service add function. Do you understand? Now here you see whether you are getting a value or not, you are getting b value or not. You can hover here and you can see what are you returning. Once your debugging is done in the service file, if you want to come out of this, then this is the icon. This is the icon to come out. It will go back to the component, and here it returned a value. That value is 200. So it is pretty sure that now the service, whatever it is returning, You can copy paste that line also, and you can see what is there in console. You can copy paste this statement expression, and you can execute here in this console also. You see that, okay, my service is giving me 200, then definitely there is some problem in my service. Whenever I call service, the service is giving me some error. I mean, some buggy data, not error. This dot math service, if you hover, it has two variables, pi and x. It has a method add. So it is pretty clear that I have no logic. I am dependent on my service response. So there is something fishy at my service layer. So go inside the service again, play it, click on add button. It will come to this function. Then go inside. It will go to service. In service, okay, add what it is returning. You can copy and paste in the console. Oh, I don't think it will work. It is not a legal statement. But at least we can run this much. This much we can run. This much we can run. Okay. So service itself is returning 200. This is a simple expression. That is why it looks easy for you, but there will be complex expressions. You have to evaluate in console. So you got to know that the service itself is returning wrong value. You will go and check your expression. What I have done mistake here, and you will rectify that. You will come to your code. You will go to math service. You will go to math service, and you will see what is the problem in this line. You will rectify it. Once you rectify this, again you reload the page. When you reload the page, debug is not on. You type 10, you type 20, you click on add. It comes to component with 10 and 20. Then you are calling math service add function. Go inside. You are here. Now, when you evaluate this expression, again, there is a problem. It returns 10, 20. I am expecting 30. So, uh, so what is the problem here? You got at least something. Then you come out of here. Here, if you see add result is 10, 20. Now, how can I fix it? To fix it, you will either add that parsing thing, converting that string to number, either at this level, you do, or at service level you do. It is the same thing. 10, 20, add. Okay. I'm passing number to service. Sorry. Add result is 30, and it is 30. Does it help?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
More help.
I don't have very complex structure. This is pretty simple. HTML to component, component to service, service to component, component to HTML. But maybe in actual project, your HTML will call one function, that function will call another function, that function will call another function, that will call another function, then it will go to service, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that will be always there, but this is how it will be. Maybe I can show you one more time. You load the application, open console, open developer tool, control shift I to open developer tool. Then in normal flow, you try. It is not working. Let's say it is not working. Then you first of all try to find this UI is coming from which component. That is the main thing. finding this UI is coming from which component is main thing. Maybe here you have coded so you know what is the component. When you join a project, there will be hundreds of components. I know it's not a big deal to find the component name, but that is also a skill. Try to find this UI is coming from which component. So try to inspect and always try to find some static text. Okay, here you have some static text. Look for some static text, look for some ID, look for some class name. So that will help you a lot to find which component you should look. So we have some static text here. If you copy everything, you will not find. So don't think that this code is not there from this project. Addition result is 30. When you search the whole thing, it says no result found because this much is static, this is dynamic. So you have to understand that part also. So try searching with at least something. So you will get to know, okay, this is coming from this component. Now go to this component, you got the component name. Once you got the component name, you understand, is this component making any function call or everything is done in HTML? No, it's making a function call. If it is making a function call, this function definitely will be there in the TS file. Go to the TS. In TS, you understand what is the code written. Understand what is the code written. Is it calling any service or is it calling any other method from this component only? Go there. If it is calling a service, go to the service. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I can explain one more example. Last example. Suppose you are trying to calculate factorial and the button is here. Enter a number, enter a number, and you have one input box. It's n, n. Then there is a button. This button is calling f1 function, or this button is calling factorial function. So on click, not on click, it is only click. On click, we will call
Yeah.
factorial function. We'll call factorial function. So factorial is a function here. This factorial function is saying console.log I am factorial. Then something something is there. Console.log factorial ends. Let's say this guy is calling a function called f1. This guy is calling a function this dot f1, this dot f1. It is calling f1 function. F1 function is there here. Console.log f1 started, f1 ends here, f1 continues. Somewhere here it is calling this dot f2. So f2 is a function again. Console.log f2 started, f2 continues, f2 ends here. I'm just trying to give you a flavor. Please compromise. Hmm. Okay. So, ah, so when we go and type something here, and let's say the HTML is printing, HTML is printing, factorial, factorial result is fact. So this fact is a variable with number value 0. Now in UI, I'm typing 5. When I click on factorial, it is printing 0 only. I need to understand what happened. I am expecting 120, right? Isn't it? Yeah. So first of all, understand this 0 is coming from which variable. So if you inspect, you will get to know that there is a button with some text factorial, or there is a paragraph with some text factorial result is something. Don't copy everything, copy partial text, copy something, and search in your project. Go to your project and search. When you search, you will get to know from which file it is coming from. And there will be lot of files. You may see sometimes the same text will be there in many files. You should be able to differentiate this text is from which exact component. Now we got to know this text is coming from so and so component. Then you understand this portion. This is one variable. What is the variable that is printing 0? Fact is the variable that is printing 0. Okay, it will be definitely there in TS file. Go to TS file and check how many occurrences of fact is there. So it is just the initialization. Somebody should be initializing it. Somebody should be modifying it later on. So there are 4 occurrences: fact, second, third, 4. So nobody is updating. If nobody is updating, how it will update? That is why it is always printing 0. So when somebody calls factorial method, so it should say this dot factorial is equal to some logic. Some logic will be written here. Suppose it is again calling factorial method from math service. So I'll go to math service. In math service, I'll add a factorial method. This factorial method will take n. Then uh, yeah, why the error is there? Okay, okay, fine. It should not create any problem.
Written type, sir, we should add.
Okay, colon any. Now, whenever we are calling factorial, we have to pass n. But from where we will get n? Somebody should pass it to me also, right? Hmm?
from the HTML.
From the HTML. So HTML is passing it or not? No, it's not passing. We have to pass. So this is how it goes. Okay. Let's say I'll pass 5. Click. It is not updating. Why it is not updating? Let's understand. It is it is saying maximum call stack size exceeded.
There is no exit condition.
There is no exit condition. So how we write factorial? So we say if n equal to 0, return 1. Else do this. Now I'll enter 5 factorial 120. Got it? So if you try to intentionally commit mistake and so it is very difficult. I am trying my best. Hope you got something, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Now I will show you also. Please wait for 2 more minutes. Let's understand the flow also. Ha. So when we click this factorial button, it comes here. So add a debug point. See, from 49 to 52, I have to come. 49 to 52, I have to come. I'll add a debug point here. I'll click the button. When I click the button, I'll change it. 4 factorial. The control comes to line number 49. Then I want to go to next statement. This is the one. If you click here, it will go to the next debug point. Do we have any next debug point? No. If you don't have any next debug point, if I have a debug point here, when I play, it will go to 52. See, if you don't have any debug point, and this is the first and last debug point, it will play the debugger and your page will be ready to use. See, if you want to go line by line from 49 to 50, click this icon. Shortcut key you should always remember. The shortcut key for this is F8. F8 is for resume. F8, F10 is for step over to next function call, or next line we can say. It will go to 50. Now in line number 50, it's a statement or it's a function call? Function call. If it is a function call, it can again have 100 statements. Are you interested with that function's logic or not? If you are interested with that function's logic to debug, you have to get into the method. Understand? Huh?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
If you don't want to debug that function's logic, you want to go to next statement, simply this icon. So it will skip that function, will go to next line. Understood?
Yes.
Yeah. So factorial 49, it go to 50. In 50, you have two options. You want to get into F1 or you want to go to the next line simply. What you want? Get into? Let's get
Next line.
into. No. Get into or step into. Step into. Where are we now? In F1. To go to next line, this icon, this icon, this icon, this icon. Now it's a function call. You want to step into or you want to just go to next line. It's in your hand. If you want to step into, go here. We are in F2. Next statement, next statement. You want to come out of F2 function. If you want to come out of F2 function, click this icon. It will go to F1, the person who called F2. Now we are in F1 function. Continue. You want to come out of F1 also? Click this. It will go to the place who called F1. It will go to factorial. It will go to factorial. Now it's calling math service factorial method. You want to get into the method? Click here. We will come to factorial. You want to come out of this? Click this. It will take you back to the function who called. Done. Done. Got some idea? What is this icon? This icon, this.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you go back to your TS
What was
file?
the last icon?
Go back to file in VS Code or in browser.
Home TS file.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, go to line number 20. So on init, initially when we did this page, this was not showing the error message. Is it because we installed lint? It's showing the error.
Yes, it is because of ESLint. If you hover also, it clearly says it is because of Angular ESLint, no empty lifecycle method. There is a rule.
Got it.
So if you have it also, it is not a syntactical problem, but ESLint recommends don't write empty method. It will not break your build. The application will still work, but ESLint helps you to clean up the unnecessary things. If you don't add a semicolon also, ESLint will start crying. Maybe this is not the default rule of ESLint. We can add. People customize the ESLint rule. If semicolon is not added, consider it as a code smell. Yeah. So whoever asked this question, debugging, are we comfortable at least how to add debug point, how to move forward?
Yes, Abhijit, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. The two main important topics left from my plan is material, how to use material UI, and NGRX state management. These are the two topics left. Do you feel anything else should be discussed?
Is there any concept of exception handling in Angular?
When we say exception handling, so whenever we write API call with catch block, try catch, right? That is one exception handling. There is no such concept we have. We have exception handling concept in JavaScript and TypeScript, but in Angular there is nothing. While implementing, we have to handle the exceptions. Angular exceptions handling. So whenever we make API call, make sure if API fail, what you are doing. Are you doing something for user or not? If API fails, we should show valid message to user. Handling errors with HTTP client. What if your API fails? What are you doing? Are you showing some information, some informative message to user or not? If you are not doing, then your error handling is not that good. So,
So
so when
interceptor
we,
level we
uh,
can
uh,
control it, right?
sorry,
Interceptor level we can control it.
we can control interceptor level.
And one more thing, do you have any design pattern concept in Angular?
No,
Is it a JavaScript concept?
yeah, it's plain pure JavaScript. Yeah, Angular internally uses when we talk about service. What is service? Service is singleton design pattern, right?
Yeah.
Singleton design pattern, factory design pattern. Angular is internally using, but we don't use directly. Indirectly, we use.
Okay, probably one more last question.
Yeah,
Can you go back to your notepad on Angular 9?
yeah.
So go up,
Mhm.
probably, probably go up on
This
Angular
is the
9. No, the
ah.
all the version
Okay,
Angular
I got
version. Okay,
it. Okay, okay.
go
That
to
difference, the difference you are talking about. What is
no,
Angular
not here.
4?
Probably line number 1700, 1800.
Yeah, yeah. I got it. What you are saying. Yeah, I'm at Angular 9 now. Huh.
Okay, so line number 37 and 38. Can you mean probably tomorrow the one question mark and two question mark?
Yeah,
Okay, cover
I'll
that.
explain this.
That's all
Yeah.
from my end.
Okay, fine. Good. Good for bringing it up. These are small, small things. It will not take more than 1 minute, but we should discuss it. If I don't discuss it,
Yes,
it
sir.
will be it will be missed.
Yes.
Hmm. Fine. Just remind me tomorrow. I'll keep it in my mind, but still, it's a small thing. Just remind me. I'll discuss this. Okay. Thank you. Good night. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.